Thank you, Tara and Holly. From deep within the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, welcome everyone, and thank you all for listening to Within the Chaos. My name is Rodney Shortridge, and I'll be your host tonight, along with my heartthrob co-host, Robin Dalton.
Hey, y'all.
Tonight, our special guest is Kadrolsha Ona Carole, the Queen of the Paranormal, KO, which makes it so much easier. Thank you for joining us tonight. How are you doing?
How do you pronounce your first name? I don't want to get it wrong.
Well, you could just say KO, which is short for Kadrolsha Ona. I know it's difficult to say, but translated it's Carolyn Ann.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, I grew up in a bilingual Polish-Russian household, and to this day, that's my name. So when we made a leap from doing the CC the Huntress programs, as of course no one could pronounce Kadrolsha Ona, so we decided to say CC Carol instead. And then I decided to use my Polish name, and I like that in honor of my grandmother and the other grandparents I have that I grew up with. So it's been an honor for them that I use the name that they gave. So there I go.
It's very beautiful.
So we can just say KO, that's fine. Bruce Tango actually calls me KO because he made that one up because he couldn't pronounce it either.
Oh, I know I've sat here and I've struggled with it, and I asked Robin, I'm like, from the South, I'm going to tear her name up and I'm going to feel bad.
Don't worry about it.
I'm like, I'm glad she had KO on there. That's going to make it so much easier.
I know.
Way I start out with all my interviews, I always ask everybody first, get them, make them feel a little more comfortable is, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, you go.
My name is Kadrolsha Ona. You can call me KO. I am the Queen of the Paranormal. It's trademarked. I've been using that since 2005 when a gentleman called into a radio show and said, I'm going to call you the Queen of the Paranormal. I said, wow, that sticks. I think I'll take it. And what I do is all aspects of the paranormal. I used to ghost hunt with the Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, Ghost Academy, a lot of members from Ghost Hunters International. And I was with an agency that reps them for about 5 years, and I felt I needed more growth and development. And so I went a different way, did Paracons to death. And so now I took a step into more of a national, international realm with doing the large Comic-Con. I mean, it's like 75 to 150 people at a Paracon versus 20,000 a day at a Comic-Con. And I'm here to teach, explain the paranormal, any questions someone may have. And in order to do that, I'm best to do it at a large audience. And so that's a little bit about me.
Okay.
So what got you into the paranormal, KO?
Well, I would have to say that I was born into it. And again, I apologize if you hear my dogs. They're spoiled. And if I'm not paying attention to them, they're barking.
Oh, that's fine.
That's fine.
I was born into it. We have 7 generations of dream interpreters on my babcia side, all the way to my babcia Rogala and the Stara Babka. And that's a Polish for grandmother, very old great grandmother, like that. And then I guess it goes on and on with that, because I was basically brought up right into the atmosphere of dream interpretation and spirit communication. I thought everybody could do it. That's how easy and open we were as a family.
Cool.
Interesting.
So how many do you do a lot of paranormal investigations, or do you do that type of, because I know you said you went with Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and stuff like that.
Yes, we worked on events together where we were, put together to do investigations for the public at different events. As far as television, I've done investigations for broadcast TV with a program called CC the Huntress. We did 85 broadcast programs. And before that, before the Ghost Hunters, even were the Ghost Hunters, I was producing a show called Ghost, it's been so long ago, it's called Ghost Hunters of New England.
Cool.
And that was a nice program that we did. And then we went into, the CC the Huntress, where we had more of a style that went with that. And then we graduated into the Queen of the Paranormal for, trademark and revenue.
Oh, cool.
So, do you use any type of equipment when you search for the paranormal? And if you do, what's your favorite piece of equipment to use?
Well, people ask me that, and what we're doing, whether it's using high-tech equipment or all these cool gadgets that come out, what we're using basically is things that detect energy or things that you can visually see with. I like to take the skeptical point of view. I do like to debunk. I love to do a lot of that. But I also like to use a common sense approach when I call my information with, a property owner or a business owner or whatnot when I go in to investigate. My best form of equipment when I first get into a building, especially in New England, is a little glass of vinegar. And a lot of people, they don't show you this on the television program. I know a lot of people like to, they swear by these programs and they everything, but the program only has an hour time slot. And we all know as paranormal investigators, it takes a lot longer than an hour. So I call those shows, they're highly entertaining. They're not very educated, educating you to the way of how to really do it. Because they miss the fact that when you go into a building, especially an old building in New England, our home, the walls, the horsehair and mortar walls were made with quicklime. Now, quicklime is from a quartz lime quarry, where they take it and they do a process of calcification. They use it and mix it with the horsehair mortar, and they plaster the walls, and they use it in between bricks. So this could lead to, negative reading or a false positive reading with your paranormal equipment, because the equipment nowadays is so sensitive that it will pick up the energy from the lime, because they make batteries with lime and everything, and people forget this one thing. And so what I do is I go in and I run my hand over the walls, over the wallpapers, all over the place. And if I feel little, you can feel them. They're like little peas or little rocks under the plaster. It's very hard to get them, quartz out of there. So if you can feel it, you know that there will be a high concentration of quicklime in that particular area. So maybe we don't investigate in that area because our equipment won't work right. But there's a simple test. You can go under the heating elements in the room and just get a little bit of that plaster. And you take that plaster and you drop it into a clear shot glass that has halfway filled with white vinegar. If it bubbles like Alka-Seltzer, then it's going to have a high concentration of quicklime. If it just kind of fizzles a little bit, well, okay, your equipment is going to probably work just fine. But that is one thing that a lot of people do forget, and that's what I like to do. That's probably my best tool, because I will know where to use all the other tools I spent so much money on, and still they'll operate correctly.
Oh, cool. Okay, what has been your most significant paranormal experience or experiences?
Marrying my husband.
That's
I could even get an Academy Award for that one.
Well, I was going to
Paranormal's not even fun.
I was going to round it up by asking, has it changed your, way of thinking or your life in any way? But I guess it has.
Oh my God. I look at it this way. There's nothing in this world that's normal. It's all paranormal. Whether it's politics, whether it's your neighbor next door, you think they're crazy anyway. I think my neighbor's crazy, but they may be thinking I'm crazy. There's no standard for normal. So dictionary included, anything opposite of normal is paranormal. That's the definition. So I like to think this world is paranormal. And we have to try to feel our way through it, and especially dealing with energy from the past. That's amazing. Once you learn how to make contact and how to deal with it, your whole life changes. It becomes so broad and so open, and you realize that these spirits behind whatever realm you want to call it, are actively looking for you too. They want to communicate with you. They want to see their families again. It's just that people don't know how to contact them or do it so they can feel the vibrations, they can feel that energy. And that's what I do. And in fact, that's what I teach when I'm on the road.
Well, and that brings me to my next question. I understand you can communicate with the spirit world directly with humans and animal spirits. Can you explain how you're able to do this, or do the spirits seek you out?
Well, this is what I do. There goes the dog again.
That's okay.
That means that's a good question.
Yes, that's a good question. I'm sorry about that. Could you just repeat the question? I got a little sidetracked.
Well, again, I understand you can communicate with the spirit world directly with humans and animal spirits. Can you explain how you're able to do this, or do the spirits seek you out?
I would think probably a little bit of both. What I've been able to do over the years is to formulate almost like a technique or a process where I take the energy of the past and I call it forward to me. But it also needs energy like a magnet. It needs something to come to. I have a lot of energy. I do Reiki. I'm a Reiki master teacher. I'm a physician in Corona Reiki. And so I do have a lot of energy around me. But I like to use the energy from the people in the audience around me or the Comic-Cons around me. And I take that and put it in my hands and put it right down into the person next to me who are holding these instruments called dowsing rods. And I never touch them. My hands go up. I have the people ask a question, and I tell them, hold them tightly. We can't have them swinging around like the ones that have sheaths on them. I want you to feel the vibration and feel the electricity. And I've not had one person not experience the buzzing, the heating up, the electricity going right through their arms. They feel pressure in their chest. I've had very large men go literally right down on the floor where security had to come and find out what's going on at this table, you know? And that's how I am able to take that energy and let people experience it, ask questions, get some resolve or closure, instead of having it interpreted by, let's say, a psychic medium. I see nothing wrong with psychic mediums. I think they're great. I think only 2% of them are great. 98% of them can go to hell in a handbag. I think they play on people's, sorrows and the want for connection with the spirit world. And I think that's highly deplorable that they are able to take someone's money through a sad situation. And the reason I say this, it's not that I'm just saying it because I believe it. I researched this with my friends. We have gone to many, many psychic fairs, and we've gone and we're not together. We're all spread out, but we do home in on one psychic, and we'll all go and we all get the same reading because, like, she doesn't have another script or he doesn't. And then you know who to stay away from. And I was on the Lawrence Police Department, Unit 1, the Gang Task Force. I see a lot of the so-called gallery readers or psychic mediums. They look at you and they can read you, and they can ask you questions that head for an answer. And, I see this all the time, and I'm thinking, that's what a detective does in an interrogation room. We look at the pulse, the breathing rate, the eyes going back and forth, all of it. So again, I do think it's great. I think psychics are great, but I think there are far more bad in the industry than there are good. And that's why I try to give the people an upfront and personal experience of their own, so they can feel it. There's no interpreting anything. And they know, and they when they leave, I've had people travel all the way from, let's say, Georgia up to Hartford, Connecticut, just to see me at a Comic-Con so they can experience this. It's amazing. It truly is amazing when done right.
Wow. Well, I know I was reading on your website that you say that you're a spirit healer. Can you explain
Yes.
what that means to everybody? And I guess that kind of falls back to what you were talking about earlier, but some people in my area may not quite understand what that means.
Well, with the principle of Reiki, which is a very loving healing art form, you are able to heal the past, the present, and future situations. So on that principle, why can't we go back to past energy and see if we can heal spirits that have confusion, spirits that might be in limbo, don't know where to go, don't understand why they passed away. You know, they hang around and try to send them to the light. And they're like a dog. They come back. They end up coming back.
That's true.
You're like, well, what the heck happened here? I sent them to the light. I did all this stuff. Yet they come back. Well, they come back sometimes because maybe they want to communicate. Maybe they like your energy. They like the people's energy in the home. They're lost still. So why don't we try healing first and then correcting that and then send them to the light? So it's just a little added thing that I do, and I have to this date, and I'm going to knock on wood right now. My head, by the way, if you can see me, and just say that I've never had anyone come back when I've done a spirit banishment, a house cleaning, or a home cleansing, and asking the spirits to leave. It's very rare that they come back but I make sure that I do a healing first for them.
So you also do like go to people's homes and do this, or just have the people come to you?
Oh, I don't want them in my house.
Okay.
Well, you heard my dog. No, actually, I had a home in Windham, New Hampshire, with a 19-room huge estate that we had the opportunity to stay in for a few years while we were looking to buy some property. And I used to have these monthly dinners, and people would get lost in the house because it had all these passageways and stuff. And people still write me like, are you ever going to have them dinners again? I am, because I'm now looking for another piece of property. I want a little farm, so I'd be able to do that. And, have people over, and they come with their pictures. I feed them. We talk. I do remote healings, and I do still go to people's homes if they contact me. But more so, I'm more of a consultant when it comes to a team or a group of paranormal investigators when they can't quite figure out what's going on. I mean, it's the old adage, you can't see the forest for the trees. These people become too friendly with the homeowner who's feeding them dinner every time they come over, and they're starting to believe what the homeowner says instead of taking and culling the information for what it is. So then they call me in there to, I won't eat their food. Well, maybe if it's cheesecake or something like that. I do like that. I'll have the cheesecake and a cup of coffee. And then I'll go on the investigation and see what my results are without even seeing their results. And then we compare them.
Right.
Okay. Well, also, you have conducted the first live deaf paranormal investigation over the internet. Yes. Getting the first EVP signed by a deaf paranormal team and received a verbal response. Can you explain this for everyone?
Well, the reason I feel we got that was the location. The location was at the Deep River Library in Deep River, Connecticut. And that library, many, many years ago, would hold classes in Braille, would hold classes in signing, would hold all different educational classes for everyone. So to be able to teach signing, you have to know how to sign. So there you can, as a spirit, you can see the signing, and you can answer with an audio response. And that's exactly what happened. Now, I think if we were out in an old barn, or we were out in the street, or we were out somewhere else, I don't think we would have gotten that result. I think somehow if you could film a spirit doing sign language, you might have gotten that. But we don't have that technology. So what we did was ask for an audio response, and that's what we got. That was submitted to the Paranormal Awards, and that won for EVP. It's an amazing thing. The deaf group, they just couldn't believe it. There was one gentleman in the deaf group who could actually hear. He was the son of one of the women that were there, and he could sign and speak and hear, to help his mom. And he heard it loud and clear, and you can see his hand just going crazy, like they said it, it was amazing. So
that's awesome.
I think, when you're in an area where spirits can understand, they will respond.
Cool. Okay, what about the technique you created for instant EVP playback? What is that?
Well, what I did, and this goes back many years ago, and this is actually time-stamped, which makes it great for me. So people that, will come up to me and say, well, go ahead and look it up. It was me. And we leave it like that. What it is, and I started off with these, this is before the digital recorders. We had a little reel-to-reel recorder, like a tape. And you could buy these things like at CVS and, wherever. And it's a little tape recorder. And so we'd talk into it, and then I'd rewind it, and I'd play it back as we were, right on TV. And it was exciting. And so the more I did it, I would do it at events. I would teach people how to do it, and they would continue to do it. And the next thing I know, within a couple of years, I could see it on TV. Now, that didn't piss me off. I think that's great. But what I didn't think was great was they didn't give me credit for what I did. And instead of suing everybody left and right, like my lawyer said I could, I decided to do the graceful thing and just ask people to look at the timestamp. And without a doubt, same thing like the ghost hunters at the Mount Washington Hotel. They were not the first ones there. I was there 2 years beforehand with New Hampshire Magazine in tow with me, the editor, Richard Bouchard. We spent the weekend filming a comedy show plus a live ghost hunt there to tape. And I don't know how they came up with that. I asked them to change it. They refused as well. But then again, it is time-stamped. The magazine won't lie with the dates. I'm not saying I was the first. Absolutely not. I think one of my sisters could have been. So many people go to that place to investigate long before. And somebody might have been on TV. I don't know. But I know that I was 2 years before them. So I think people, should give credit where credit is due. I always do. So that's the explanation with that.
Okay. Is there anything on these TV ghost shows that they do that you don't approve of?
I think they do a wonderful job. They're trying to condense what they do into what they're allowed for the time frame for television. What I don't like is it takes 8 days or so to do a building, making it look like one evening in the same clothes. I don't like that. I think that is, I don't know how stupid they think their audience is, but when you're doing live to tape, it's live to tape. My shows were live to tape, except for the documentary parts. That we had to do something. We were live to tape unless we went from the basement to the third floor, then we cut the tape, turned it back on. There was no editing. That's why everything was done in front of the camera. You could see the pictures right over my shoulder through the lead monitor on the camera. You could also get the EVPs instantly because I just played them right back like I had explained. These were techniques I needed as a woman to go forward in the industry. And I guess that's my pet peeve. Change your clothes, make it a more honest approach to the entertainment you're giving people, and let people know that this is for entertainment value, and it is not like a real ghost hunt. It's as real as I guess I can get it in an hour the way they do it, so that's cool. But indeed, people that follow this and think it's the way to do it, they're sorely misled.
Do you think any of them has faked any type of evidence just for the ratings?
As far as faking goes, I don't know what they do in an edit, inside a studio. They cull their information and they go back in the edit. I don't know what their producers are saying to them. I do know they're under contract to do what the producers want them to do, or they don't have a job. And I can see the situation they're in to keep their mouths closed and to work. And I'm sure they're probably not wanting to do or say certain things. And I'm just going to leave that there. As far as my shows, Cece the Huntress went, they were just live to tape, and that's exactly how you saw them. There was no going back and doing anything. I mean, it was like right in front of your face. So we didn't do anything like that. But as far as these producers, which don't have experience in ghost hunting properly, they may want to do something stupid, but I can most likely assure you that it didn't come from the team members, those ideas. So I hope I answered that correctly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a great job. That's awesome.
Also, you were the first to speak in different languages to obtain EVP responses. Could you explain a little bit of how that was done?
Well, I'm a firm believer that if you're 100% Polish, Russian, whatever you are, when you pass away, you don't all of a sudden speak English. That's ridiculous. Why would? I mean, you're Polish. So I went about, and I had done this back with Ghost Stories of New England. Many times I would talk in the language or the proper verbiage of the time frame so someone could understand me. Like, I wouldn't go in a 1700s cemetery talking like I do now. This is, slang of 2016. And they wouldn't know what I was saying. I would have to place it more proper. For example, I did the Monadnock Inn, and I was looking for German spies from about 1918, 1910. And I actually had a gentleman that knew the verbiage and how it was phrased, not the slang of 2000 and let's say 5 when I filmed it. And so that I went in front of the camera and I was able to speak in the verbiage and in the time frame of the Germans in that era. And I was able to get a verbal response. Because they don't understand you. It's like someone talking Chinese at you or something. Like, you're just looking at them like, what?
Yeah.
So, I've done that. I've done that even long before television. I was a firm believer of speaking in the language, even if I had to get someone to help me with a few questions, that I could at least try to communicate.
Well, I know with us, when we've done some investigations, we've got some languages that we couldn't understand because the cemetery in the town had a lot of different Polish, German, different descents, and that's what that was one of the things we were debating and talking about. I'm like, if they don't, I'm like, do they understand us in English on the other side, or are they just hearing us speaking and trying to communicate in their own language?
I think they're hearing what they understand. They might understand broken English. They might understand a piece or two, but you're talking in a whole different generation. You're talking, like, I don't want to say, how can I say this? You're talking in 2016 or 15 English slang. You're not speaking the Queen's English. Right. You're not speaking like a Cockney accent. You're not speaking in their time frame that they could understand you, which was more of a proper verbiage. I do know when I was at the Shanley in Nabinock, New York, we were in the bordello room. Have you ever been to the Shanley?
No.
Well, anyways, it's this place that was a bordello, and they got ghosts everywhere, and they have these events all the time, and the ghost hunters were there, and I was there. Oh, so anyways, I'm thinking we're not getting any response from the bordello at all. Now, these women made a living at the oldest profession in the world, prostitution. So why aren't we getting any answers here? So we decided to role play, and we did this experiment. And it's funny because I didn't put it up. I still have the results. Maybe I'll do that. Giggle here. But we went role playing like, hey, baby, and all this kind of stuff. And then I decided let's do some verbiage from the 1850s. That's when the bordello was there. So then I said, do you like me? Do you think I'm pretty? A more proper type thing. And lo and behold, we were getting answers, short little answers from a female on EVP. It was amazing because no matter what else we tried to do, it didn't work. And so we had to go back to the verbiage of the 1850s and more proper conversation with the men. And then we got it. So that was really cool.
Well, there was a guy around here. He was claiming at a building that there was a lady there, and he was trying experiments, saying that she wanted to have sex with him. And he actually had people pay to come and do little tours of this place and watch him lay in the bed and try to say that this lady was trying to have sex with him. Now,
no one put a net over him and dragged him out.
We wanted to.
We wanted to, but there was I couldn't believe it. So much was making so much money off of
unbelievable.
Yeah, but do you? Well, I kind of take it from your response, but do you think it's possible? I mean,
what I think is possible is if you take an elderly woman, man, or a young widower, widow, they just lost their life partner. They're alone, and they would like to be held. You miss it, whether it's the intimacy or the act of sex. You miss it. That doesn't mean you're having ghost sex. It just means that your mind can recall how it felt, and you're longing for this. So yeah, the mind is a very strong tool. It calling back these memories. I mean, my son passed in 2014. I can hear his voice if I want to. That doesn't mean he's in the room. So these people that conjure up and say ghost sex, I think they're startled by what their bodies and brains can do. And this is normal when you miss somebody. You miss their scent, you miss their touch, and I think that's normal. As far as paying to have someone see you laying in a bed to have ghost sex, I really don't think so. I mean, would you, with your wife, would you lay there and have sex and have people like coming along and paying you on this tour?
Well, we are in,
well, if they're paying to watch, I'll give them a show.
Yeah, and then they'll put a net over you.
That's it.
I'm just saying, the spirits have the same personality, the same things when they pass away as they had when they're alive. That's the energy that remains. That's the intelligence, the personality, and all that remains. So why would this ghost girl want to bang this guy who keeps walking by? It's not true. It's not happening. And if other people, you don't know really why they were there. They're probably there to watch this idiot. I don't know.
I get.
And I would pay 50 cents to see that myself.
Not $25, huh?
So listen, when I come over for dinner, you guys take me out there, okay?
Well, I think his cover's been blown because I ain't heard nothing from him for the past year or so. So
it's again playing on and tugging on the heart. I don't really think I think they were curious and they were looking, going, oh my God, I'd pay to see that. That guy's an idiot. But a lot of people do bad things when it comes to the spirit world, and they don't realize that these people have energy, that remains.
Oh, well, speaking of energy, I understand that you can transfer your energy into another room, and it's been caught on camera. Can you explain how you was able to do this?
What I did was I was in Salem, Massachusetts, under the road in these tunnels that no longer exist. I think they were collapsed 2 to 3 days after we filmed that episode, my son and I. And I wanted to see, by setting up surveillance cameras, could we capture something on the other side of the wall or the door if I pushed my energy through it? And hey, I didn't know until we watched it later that we could do that. And I said, that's amazing that energy can move and shift things. And I was, it was just crazy. I guess we're always learning. And even though I've been doing it all these years, I still try to experiment and to see what will fly, what won't fly, and try to capture it on on tape instead of just telling somebody about it, because they probably won't believe you. Most of the time, they won't believe you because you're a girl that wears boots, and oh, she's got boobies, so no, we can't believe her. So I have to have everything documented, and but it's fun to keep researching and thinking out of the box.
Well, I'm sorry, a woman that wears boots and has boobies gets my attention, and I do listen.
And you know what the funny thing about this is? The reason I wear boots is because of the locations I go to, and bending my shins and scraping myself, and those boots, I still have them. When I went through an incident last November where I was actually attacked and stabbed, and they, when I was kicking the gentleman, he sliced my boots. But because I had the leather, he didn't go all the way. He went through a little bit, and but that boot saved a nasty, nasty, deep wound. Saved me from that. So I should put those boots on the wall somewhere. But I wear them, and I still wear the leather coat that has the big slices in it from when I got it on my arm too.
Well,
Wow.
why were you attacked? I mean, was it just some deranged asshole, or?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Well, I hate you had to go through that.
Asshole to do something like that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, could you tell us a little bit about your career with being an author and working as a TV personality and in movies and radio? How did you actually become a pop culture icon?
Well, this is when I crossed over from doing the paranormal conventions that are called Paracons. I went into the pop culture conventions, and I was asked to do Chiller Theater. Was my first one, and it's funny. I was asked to do it, and I'm like, I never heard of some of these things, and when I realized it was the oldest horror and pop culture thing out there, I was honored. And they never had the ghost hunters there. I know that a gentleman from Haunted Collectors had tried for over 13 years to get in, and they wouldn't let him in, but they let me in. And the reason they did was because I have an honest perspective. I don't run out of the building. I actually really do this stuff in front of the camera. And for them, it made a better balance to have somebody like me represent the paranormal industry at their event. So that's what I did. As far as being an author, and I still am. This is my 4th time going into Chiller, and I'm still the only one there from the paranormal industry. And this time I'm going to be performing as well as appearing. I'll be singing with Thunder Road, Pat Horgan's group, and also possibly backing up the monkeys for their reunion.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's really cool. Being an author, I was the first person approached by History Press to do a Haunted America book, and I did it on the Merrimack Valley, which consists of 2 states. And I did that, and a couple of schools out here actually have their students read it because it really is a history book. Never mind the investigations. It's filled with history and documentation. It's just an amazing book. And so I did that for them, and it still sells very well. I still get my royalty checks all the time. So I'm glad that didn't get phased out. And as far as doing radio, I've been doing radio for years and involved in the media with other television shows and other things that had nothing to do with ghost hunting, except for I had a little segment of ghost hunting on the program from Ghost Stories of New England. And again, this was long before the ghost hunters came out with their program. So I've been in the field of entertainment for many years. I used to sing backup for Joe Cocker, and I also toured with the Rolling Stones with backing them up as well.
Awesome!
And other people like Bobby Vinton and, other people that would require somebody to come on stage at a moment's notice to sing backup. And so I was the girl that would do it, and did that for many years. And then was a police officer, and, went back into Ghost Stories of New England and this ghost hunting and all of this because it's my passion. I'm not a weekend warrior. I actually really do this during the day, at night, when I'm teaching at conventions and whatnot. So it's a different type of career, but I like it.
That's awesome. Are there any teams or individuals in the paranormal field that are inspirational to you?
Teams in the paranormal that are inspirational to me. Yeah, there really are. I you know what? I see their dedication. I see their eagerness to learn. I admire them for that. I also see that they don't play in the drama, which we are all too familiar with. And they go about it in a professional manner. Yeah, I know several of them off the bat that I actually will chum around with because I feel they can teach me and I can teach them. I even feel the general public can teach us all something. We look at it a different way. We cannot know it all when it comes to paranormal because there's so many changes and equipment and ways to do things and how to interpret things, so many variables that you never stop learning. You can never know enough. And you cannot be an expert because if you're an expert, you know it all. You can't know it all because it's an ever-changing world of the unknown.
Exactly. So I know you were talking about, your grandmothers and stuff, having several generations back, doing similar things that you were able to do. Are there any other people in your life that influenced you to start working in the paranormal field?
Geez, it's been happening so long. I would have to say probably my husband, Bob, who it's very difficult to be married to someone that travels all the time and speaks to the dead and has security guards with her all the time, gets stabbed. I do a lot of things, and especially I still investigate, which I love to do. And I just did this wild investigation. It was last month at Kings Park on Long Island. It was an insane asylum with 150-something buildings that are empty. And so we went into one of the oldest buildings out there where they did the lobotomies and, all the surgeries and stuff. And they've got a tunnel a quarter of a mile long, 2 stories under the ground that goes from one end of it to the other end of it.
Awesome.
It is crazy. So that'll be coming out. That's one thing we actually did film. But that was just so wild. And now coming up this March 9th, I'm actually going to be speaking at Capitol Hill at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. I'm going to be it's called A Healing on Washington. And so you're the first guys to find out about that. And we started it a few days ago, and now press releases are going out. And I'm going to be able to do something I feel meaningful to me with all the childish behavior when it comes to political people nowadays. Maybe they just need some positive reinforcement, and maybe it'll help them come to their senses and act like grown-up, nice individuals.
Yeah, or a good smack on the ass would help them too.
They won't let me do that.
They act like a child. They need to be spanked like a child. Well, I understand that you're a 5-time paranormal award winner. For those that don't know, what's the criteria to becoming an award winner, and who judges that criteria, and what type of awards do they give out?
Okay, I'm going to get to my actual. Oh no, that's not even the website. Oh, okay, so I don't really need it. For one thing, the awards I won have nothing to do with the paranormal awards that I run. Mm-hmm. They were won for other things years ago, and in different categories when it came to cable television and different programming. Those were my awards, and I like the paranormal awards. I own it. I'm got a website for it, and what we do is we do something far different. We have a criteria, and so you can fit into the criteria for whatever category you want to be nominated for. It's like you can have your friend nominate you, but you have to approve it, and we have to call on your references, and you have to fit a particular criteria. Like if you don't send in your criteria, we can't judge you. And I try to treat people like adults. I don't chase after them for their information. Like let's say for EVPs, I want you to send me a minute of an audio or a video from YouTube or an AVI file, whatever you want to send me to represent that EVP. And then I have questions for you to answer as well, like a witness statement and the witness's phone number and all this other stuff. And people, honest to God, I don't know where their intelligence is. They will say, I want to go for EVP of the year, yet send me nothing.
Wow. And
so, okay, so then I will send them, well, you need to fit the criteria. Then they'll write back, what does that word mean? And
oh, my God.
Why are you in a paranormal team? I don't get it. So you try to be nice and you just say it's information under the category that you want to be. EVP has like maybe 3 or 4 criteria. So could you just send those in for me? And then they don't. Then they get mad because they didn't win. I'm like, well, you never sent your shit in. Oh, excuse me.
Oh,
you're fine.
You're on the internet. You can say whatever the hell you want to say. That's what I love about it.
And as far as the judging go, the judges are people who are proficient in the jobs they do professionally. So let's say you're going to go for radio show of the year. Well, I have a gentleman who, while Art Bell was on hiatus, his name is, you know what? I'm not going to say his name. I don't want people to bombard him. I know this industry. I know.
Okay.
I'm going to do that. Anyway, you probably figure out who he is anyway. But, and radio shows, whether they're political, entertainment, sci-fi, whatever. I think this gentleman's own criteria, own credits and achievements make him capable of judging radio show of the year. It could be your rhythm, it could be your content, it could be all of these put together. Do you say the word too many times? I mean, this guy's a professional. So he's able to pick out radio show of the year. Television show of the year, which would be video television or whatnot. We have a gentleman, 50 years in the industry, who owned his own television station, putting together shows. I think he's more than qualified to put together a paranormal show or to vote on what is needed. As far as movies and other things, I have an executive producer from Warner Brothers that judges. And I think he's more than capable of judging, let's say, a paranormal movie of such. So,
I'm sorry, my phone's ringing. They're turning it off. I'm sorry about that.
But
poor little half-pint, she came in here. She's like, I get it, Papa.
Well, like I was saying, when it comes to paranormal movie of the year or horror movie of the year, I also have a gentleman who is an executive producer at Warner Brothers who runs down and he goes down his list of what he thinks would make a good movie. Looks at the content, looks at the viability of the movie for distributorship and how it's put together. And is it entertaining? Is it historic? Is it accurate, number one? Or is it just bullshit and sloppily put together? And so our judges are not just people in the paranormal field. They're people outside the paranormal field, but with years and years of experience when it comes to the job that they do. Like owning TV stations, being in the radio industry for 40 years, and an executive producer, one of them. Now, that's just 3 of them. We have a total of 9. Same way.
Wow. Well, I think I just lost the one for radio.
Well, I know you're an advocate for the homeless and an animal rescuer. What do you get out of giving so much of yourself?
What do I get? I don't know, just the comfort of mind knowing that even though sometimes I only can give a little, and my children too, that at least that little bit might have saved an animal from starving, helped with medical care. It could have, I purchased like these, really cheap SafeLink phones, or not SafeLink phones, they're like little phones, track phones. And I will just buy a whole bunch of them and pass them out so they can, I'll go to different cities so the homeless can call home for the holiday. And I buy coffee carts like at Dunkin' Donuts and pass those out. I'll go buy the Common when it's really cold and just put people in the car. Let's go to McDonald's. I try to help the best I can with what I have. I'm a firm believer that in order to get, you have to give. That doesn't mean do good deeds all the time. Hey, I'm human. I think wild and crazy shit all the time, but I don't do them.
Right.
Well, I do, but it's all in my mind. But what is there? Do you do this when you travel around, or do you just do it in your local area?
Well, I do it not only in my local area. I do it every time I travel. If I'm going to a Comic-Con or in a large event, I always stop by the local animal shelter or food pantry or like that, or abuse center for women or men, just to drop off some stuff. I mean, I've even dropped off a pile of tickets for events as well, so people can go. And I don't care if they come see me. They could just go and enjoy the other celebrities that are there and have some fun with their families.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's what I do. That's what I like to do. And I spent a whole afternoon at a shelter playing with the kitty cats and, all this stuff. And I got a very, very rude message. Actually, no, it wasn't a message on his site that I shouldn't be putting up how I help animals or cats or anything. And this is from somebody who was on television. And I'm like, oh, that's not right. I mean, the reason I do this is to bring awareness to areas you might not have thought of that people may want to donate. People may not want to donate to their local areas or cities thinking that they get enough donations. But when you go out in West Virginia or you go out in Virginia, or I mean, I don't even know these, maybe a remote area that really needs the money. I bring to light and awareness that these places are there. Send them some money, do something, or send them if you're driving by to visit relatives, stop in with a container of bleach that they might need or from a wish list. Bring awareness to the different, areas within the United States so people can help and do it. That's what I do. If you go to the website, you'll see they're not all, they're privately owned animal shelters. They're animal shelters you would never thought of. And so this way people can give low spay and neuter places as well.
That's awesome. I know right now in Mercer County where I live, they're actually trying to raise money to put in a spay and neuter clinic there to try to help control, some of the animal population. And I just think it's great. I'm an animal lover and I love knowing that people care.
Yeah, it's important. And how do you get the word out? Let's say there's an area that they're starting up something like this, and that particular area doesn't really have the financing. That's why they're asking for money to start up this. And that area, would you be able to control a lot of the animal population? How do you get that word out for people? Because they're all over the world or all over the United States would want to pitch in $5, $10, this is where I come in. This is where I promote. So why don't you send me all that information? I'd appreciate it. So then I can put it up on my website, that information, and hopefully people will donate through the link that I'll put up. So
that is awesome.
If you could send me the link, the name of the place, whatever, I'll look them up. I'll get a little picture. I'll put it up there. And people can see that and go, geez, I never thought about that. I think that's a great idea. And that's what they do. And then they go, and it's happened many times already. I get letters from these places saying, somebody in Alaska just sent me $5.
Yeah. That would be great. I mean, we really appreciate that.
Okay, excellent, great.
Well, I know we were talking about the homeless. Last year, I was an extra in a little short film that was about homeless. Mm-hmm. And, here you had all these people here doing all this filming, and they had all this food that they were trying to give away or just give out to the people, the actors and extras and all that. And they gave us a bunch because it was me and a few people in my group. I drove around the corner, and here we seen like 3 people that were homeless, and I turned back around and I said, give them this food. Why are we shooting a film about homeless right in the middle of homeless people and not feeding them?
That's right.
It made no sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, talk about ironic. Oh my God.
Hypocritical too.
And hypocritical, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, I've been on movie sets and I try to gather up the food and just bring it. But sometimes food pantries have rules that the food has to be all sealed and packaged and this and that. They're afraid some nut's going to poison the food and drop it off. And I guess I can understand that. But if the people are standing on the corner and they're hungry, feed them.
Yeah.
Feed them. I would like to be fed if that was me. That's it.
Oh, I agree. So, what do you do when you're not so busy? What do you do to unwind?
Drink.
Oh, right.
My kind of girl.
Sometimes I'm afraid to ask that question, but I bravely do it.
What do I do? In my spare time, I like these forensic file shows. I'll sit and watch those, and just sit like with all my animals around me, my kids, and just do family things. We're an extremely close family. We travel everywhere together. We do things together, and we all work together in this business. I'm the front of the business, but we have a lot behind the business that we all have a part in. So we're very close. We're all each other's like best friends and do everything together. So my downtime would be just watching TV, having homemade caramel popcorn, and like that. That's what I like. I like being with my family and my animals.
And lots of wine.
No, I was only fooling. No, I was only fooling. I might take a sip on a holiday, but I'm such a cheap date. I can't take that.
So, what's your plans for 2016?
For 2016, if everyone could go to the website, queenoftheparanormal.com, to the schedule page, you'll see a list that's growing. And I wanted to keep it short, only 6 events this year, but it keeps growing. And where I do want to buy a farm, I have to work. So it's not going to, no one's going to give it to me.
That's true.
Paranormal. So it's all listed there. That's all the things I'm doing. I'm coming up with a cookbook. I'm coming up with a comic book. I've been contracted to do. I've got, of course, the Healing on Washington, D.C., March 9th, which will be filmed and going out to the media today. We've been working on that for days now. Make sure we have everything right. And so, yeah, I got a lot of things to do, and I try not to ever say no when it comes to a radio show. I might not be able to do it at that proper time because I do volunteer at a crisis center in the evenings when I'm home. So I try to maybe pre-tape it like we did ours here and just keep working.
Well, I do appreciate you coming on the show, and
that's not a.
It has been so great talking to you.
It has. It's been a true honor to hear.
It's been nice talking to you too, and I really hope that we get a chance to meet. And if I'm in your area, I really expect that you contact me and we get together and we can sit and do some EVPs at the hotel or whatever we need to do. We're just going to have a good time together.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
That sounds, yeah, and if you're ever down here in Southwest Virginia, that's where we're at.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we'd be more than happy. There's a town. It's a kind of a ghost town now. It's an old mining town that we've done a lot of investigations there. Oh, we'd love to take you there. Lord, that'd blow your mind.
We'd have some fun. I'd show you some tricks.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
To learn from the master queen herself. I lay down on your boots.
I'll put their heads. Yep.
Well, that's it for that's the time we're allotted. Shoot, if we had, I wish they'd give me a show where I could do 2 hours. But I do appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us, and hopefully we can have you back on soon. And like you said, I'd like to meet you and hang out with you and just have a good time.
It'd be fun. Okay, I'll see you later. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. That's it for us tonight. I want to thank the beautiful queen of the paranormal, KO, for coming on the show, and to thank everyone that took the time to listen and take part of our show. A big shout out to Vibe Radio Network, Holly and Ryan, and the Vibe family. Also to all the first responders and our men and women in the armed services, thank you for your service. Our guest for next Thursday, March 17th, will be author Andrea Perron. So turn in next week to another exciting show starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, be safe and have a good night.
Night, y'all.
Night now.